Shalom, this is Rabbi Mark Kunis, and my taste of Torah for Parshat Vayikra 57:81. After a year of coronavirus quarantines and lockdowns, with schools closed and parents going crazy, with shocking surges in depression and suicides, with businesses closing and people out of work, we look at our world with its cancel culture, divisiveness, and so much hatred, and we begin to feel like the Hasidic master, the Kotzker Rebbe, who once said, "The Welt stinkt," the world stinks. It's getting so that I, as a news junkie, can't bring myself to read the newspapers, magazines, or watch the news. It's also depressing when you see how much ugliness and cruelty, how much evil there is in the world. It's hard not to agree with the Kotzker, not to feel the Welt stinkt, that our world is so rotten inside and out. And yet, I think there's another side to our world. I truly feel that most people are genuinely kind and compassionate. Consider the inspiring stories of frontline workers who for a year have saved countless lives while fearlessly risking their own. There's a story of Akashif Kodri and Naila Shirin who fell in love over their love for helping others. The two met on medical mission trips across the world. He's a cardiologist at Cedar Rapids Mercy Hospital, and she's a chief resident rotating between hospitals in Brooklyn. Their lavish 2-day wedding was planned for the end of March last year in London. These two healers had planned to spend their honeymoon in Dubai and the Maldives, but that was before the coronavirus. Anxious to get back on the front lines, these hospital heroes scrapped their lavish wedding plans in favor of a much smaller, socially distant ceremony at home. 12 hours later, they were on their way back to the respective hospitals to care for COVID patients. Then there's Dr. Chuck Wright, who, like so many, came out of retirement to lend a helping hand. Despite the higher risk of infection as a senior, Dr. Wright is working to serve patients in San Mateo and Monterey counties. In recent days, workers at New Orleans Usher Medical Center have been greeted with expressions of gratitude from unnamed artists sketched out on the sidewalk as they walk from the parking lot to the main entrance. In city after city, these frontline workers have been treated to free meals, free sports tickets, and thank you bags. The world may stink, but there is so much love in this world. This week we begin the third book of the Torah, Vayikra, Leviticus. Much of this book is taken up with korbanot, sacrifices to God that was brought in the Mishkan and Holy Temple. It's interesting that the word korbanot, sacrifices, comes from the Hebrew karov, close. The message is simple. If you want to be close to someone, in this case, God, but if you want to express your love or show your love to anyone, you've got to sacrifice, to give something that the Torah says is mikem, something that is yours, to show your love. It can be a gift like the sacrifices in the Mishkan, or it can even be your time and your effort. In fact, the word for love in Hebrew is ahava, from the root hav, to give. Giving is how we best express our love. Rabbi Label Lamb tells a story about the custom in many traditional homes for the husband to buy his wife a gift before each holiday. One Passover, a man was short on funds, so he bought a very simple gift. But feeling self-conscious, he spent nearly 2 hours writing a very personal note to accompany it. Years later, He went to the bank vault to retrieve some important papers. He hadn't been there in years. But when he opened the box, there among their most treasured possessions was the note he had written years before and his wife had saved. He gave of himself so much in that letter, and that what was important. The new slogan in fundraising is, don't give until it hurts, give until it feels good. My friends, as we get ready for Passover, let's remember that Passover is our holiday of love. God saw our oppression and demonstrated his love as he saved us with one miraculous gift after another. This year, as last year, we cannot show our love for friends and extended family by inviting them to the Seder because of the continuing pandemic. However, we can still show our commitment to that ideal of Kol Dichvin by making sure that no Jewish person feels isolated and alone on Passover. So call and tell them you love them, that you miss them, that you're thinking of them. And we can show those we feel closest to some extra love this year by writing them a note, not on the computer, with your hand on a piece of paper with a pen. Tell them how much you love them and appreciate them. Let's give our love this Pesach until we feel good. Have a great Shabbos and a decent, sweet, and kosher Pesach.